Welcome back to ARC Tutorials. This is Testing Concept Series, and this is part 3 of the series where we will learn about automation testing. What is automation testing? What are the tools and frameworks that are available for automation testing? As well as we'll look into advantages, disadvantages, and career scope with respect to automation testing. These concepts are really important for equally for both developers as well as for QA community. If you are trying to progress into your career, these are the topics that are essential for you to know. So let's get started in the series with automation testing. This is the third in the series. If you haven't checked out the first 2 episodes, please do make sure that you check out so you have continuity in learning. Alright, so let's talk about what is automation testing. Automation testing is the process of using software to perform tests on a computerized system. Automation testing uses specialized tools and softwares to control the execution of tests and compare the test results against predefined expectations. It can be used to test the functionality of an application as well as its performance, compatibility, and security. Automation testing can be performed at various stages of software development process. Automation testing really helps in improving the quality, reliability, and speed of testing. Automation testing is typically faster and more efficient than manual testing because you can do a wide range of tests including regression, integration, and system testing. What are some of the advantages of automation testing? Automation testing is faster and more efficient than manual testing. That's given a fact that when the QA teams do something manually, it is obviously bound to take more time and is more prone to errors, right? Whereas automation testing is done using tools and software and frameworks, which means the tests are more faster, they are more accurate and reliable. It can be used to perform repetitive and time consuming tasks. For example, if a new build is coming in, if you have manual tests, you'll have to execute them manually and it's time taking. And you can't really cover the breadth of entire build. Whereas compare that to having automation test suite. If you have automation test suite, you can easily run those tests quickly, save time and resources. It can also be used to perform wide range of tests. If you write an automation test, you can run it against different devices, different browsers for different performance levels, compatibility and security, much more. Overall, automation testing helps in improving the quality of the software. Automation helps us in identifying the defects and issues more quickly and accurately than manual testing. That's basically the underlying principle of all the advantages that we talked about. Alright, so this is again something that you should know, that there are disadvantages to automation testing as well. And if you are attending an interview, or let's say you talk about in any meeting, definitely you should bring up some of the disadvantages that are there in automation testing. For one, it will require a significant investment of time and resources. All the tools and frameworks that we will cover in automation testing require specialized knowledge, trained resources, which is really difficult to bring on board and maintain them and retain them, have the licensing cost, etc. It can be difficult to set up and maintain. Writing automation test suite is one thing, running them in the pipeline, running them in the repo, etc. is again a cost and a setup and maintenance that is ongoing. The next one is that automation testing may not be suitable for all types of testing, right? If you are working on something, let's say dynamically, drastically changing software, which is changing on a daily basis throughout the early life cycle of software, writing automation test will require a lot of maintenance of it. You'll have to keep on changing the scripts, changing the suite, changing the IDs, classes, etc. So it may not be suitable during the early phases of software till you have a stable product. It can be less effective for complex or dynamic applications. Let's say you're building a single page application which has effectively one page and a sections in the page, or a static one, right? Not very functional or dynamic in nature. Writing an automation test suite for such applications is not suggested or recommended because it's pretty fairly simple and can be easily achieved with manual testing rather than involving time, cost, and resources. It can lead to over reliance on the test results. Let's say you have 500, 800 test suites that you are maintaining over a period of time. Anything changes the requirement, it becomes that you are relying purely on the scripts, and anything changes, you need to go back, fix the script. So it can lead to over reliance on the test results. So that is something that you need to consider before making that sound judgment. Now let's talk about some of the tools and frameworks that are available for automation testing. There are many different tools and frameworks available which are considered for automation testing. Some of the popular and leading ones are Selenium, Cypress, Waiter, and Appium. Right? They are used for both mobile as well as web application testing. If you are looking at a purely end-to-end server-side thing, then you might want to consider JUnit and TestNG. Those are the two. And a lot of things have moved into continuous integration, right, on the DevOps side. So that's where Jenkins and Travis, Bitbucket pipelines, these come into picture, where they automatically have some kind of automation frameworks which allow us to run the scripts. Let's talk about some of the technical skills that are required to be an automation tester. You need to have a fair amount of good knowledge of a programming language. Mostly if you are doing like Selenium, Cypress, some amount of JavaScript, HTML, CSS knowledge definitely is required. Uh, and then you need to know frameworks like Selenium, Cypress, detailed. A little bit of knowledge of SQL and database concepts is also helpful. That really kind of builds the foundation for end-to-end kind of a script writing for automation. You need to know how to manage the tools, agile tools like Jira, Confluence, defect tracking systems, etc. Operating system, obviously Windows, Mac. In enterprises, if you're using mostly Windows, you need to know basics of Microsoft Office like Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, etc. That would also help in presentations. Some of the non-technical skills that are required are you need to definitely have good logical, analytical skills, which can be learned, which can be improved, and which can definitely be picked up. You need to have good communication skills, both written as well as verbal. Good time management, planning, right? You should be able to commit to your work and complete that work. So those are the non-technical skills. Being a good team player, having positive attitude is something that definitely will help you succeed in as an automation QA engineer. If you talk about the career growth, right? If you're joining as a fresher, you might be a QA analyst. 2 to 3 years, you might become senior QA. In 5 to 6 years of around, you should be looking at QA team coordinator. 6 to 8 years, automation QA lead, architect, then probably associate manager, test manager, senior manager, and so on, right? So that's a career progression. Again, it varies from industry to industry, domain to domain, but this is a typical chart that you should look at in terms of growth as a software automation QA engineer. All right, so that's all in today's episode about automation testing. I am covering all the basic concepts so that we as a community, both as developer as well as QA, know really all the basics and the fundamental concepts, because as you start growing in your career, you will bound to hear these words, these terms, and you should be really prepared. You should really know about the fundamentals of it. That's what I'm covering in this series. Thank you so much for joining in today's episode. If you like my work and tutorials, please do consider buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/arttutorials. In the next episode, we will cover about black box testing and we'll learn all about it. Thank you so much for joining. See you in the next episode.